We're live.
Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to the SGA debate hosted by the Rambler. Yay! Okay, so quick introductions. First we have Braden Strong, who's a freshman running for Chief of Finance. We have stand-in Kate. Kate is not here yet, but Sarah has her answers and is going to be speaking for Kate. Then we have, and Kate is running for Chief of Staff, and Kate is a junior. Delta Purple is a freshman and is also running for Chief of Staff. And then we have Lakin Totten, who is a sophomore, and is running for Vice President, as well as Max Hankins, who is a sophomore and running for Vice President as well. And then Sean Gannon, our junior, running for President. Okay, so if everybody's ready, we're going to get started with some questions. And then we can start with Braden and then go down the line and end with Sean and then go to the next question. Okay, what motivated you to run for this position, and what unique qualities do you bring to the role?
I was motivated to run for this position purely on the fact that I have loved being on student government this past year, getting to represent all the people on our campus and the stuff that they want to see happen and see changed has really brought a light to my life, and I really do enjoy it. Some of the aspects that I bring to this position are a lot of prior leadership opportunities. I was vice president during high school. I've been on SGA this past year. Co-founded the entrepreneurship club that we have here at Transy now, and also am in a leadership position on my fraternity. So I feel like having those opportunities allows me to really represent the people to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's Kate's answer. She said, I knew I wanted to give my time and attention to the meaningful work on campus. I found SGA to be the vehicle for that work. When reviewing EC positions, Chief of Staff stood out as the best fit for my capabilities. The responsibility of Chief of Staff demands an individual who is organized, communicative, and deeply committed to SGA. My multifaceted experience and my proven track record makes me the ideal candidate to fulfill these duties for our student government.
Kate.
What motivated me to apply? Sorry, I originally wasn't going to. I've been dealing with a lot of stress this semester, and I felt like I didn't need anything more on my plate, but after some heavy thought, I really do want to try to do better things for this campus, and I want to really try to help out as many people as I can. And I feel like Chief of Staff was what fit me the best personality-wise and just abilities that I can do. What qualifies me for it is, I've been on SGA for this past year. I don't have much leadership experience as other candidates, but I want to try to do more and be more active on campus.
So really what inspired me to apply for or run for the vice president position is that I really do love what the vice president position entails. Being able to work with the senators and hear the concerns from the student body and really be able to inspire the senators and others to do these projects and have these events that are able to engage the whole campus and engage further outside into the Lexington community has, one, been something I've had so much fun doing as a senator, and with me being campus engagement chair, and also I've also been helping other senators with their projects and being able to help provide resources and provide time to really discuss ideas and throw them back and forth. So as the vice president, that's kind of what the job would entail, and I thought that fit me perfectly. I think as far as what I know and what I have done that really qualifies me for it is being the campus engagement chair and really getting myself involved on campus as part of my position and talking to other clubs and organizations and students just to hear what concerns they have, what they want to see on campus, and also being a part of the DEI committee has really strengthened my bond with campus and wanting to do what's best for everyone.
What really inspired me to run for vice president this go around was seeing just the unique success that I feel like SGA has had this year. I feel like we've had a lot of great individuals in a lot of the positions that we have in student government, and I feel like vice president is a position that can uniquely foster creativity within senators, can help orient students to the positions that they take on within the organization. And during this year, I've also had a lot of experience with collaborating with other senators on projects, doing a lot of the behind-the-scenes work, and I would like to continue my efforts with that and making sure that, one, that we are able to continue our efforts that we've done this year, but also that whenever we have new students coming into SGA and we are encouraging a broader, diverse group of students to participate in our actions, that they will be better prepared for what they're entering with their duties in the student government.
The role of president is really hard. I've learned that a lot this year. And since 1956, when the student council moved to the student government, there's only been 3 people to ever have the opportunity to do it twice in a row. And I think the main reason why I want to do it again and I want to run for re-election is because I have that unique opportunity to use the experience and wisdom that I just gained in the past 3 years in SGA and apply it to have an even better and more motivated student government. Exactly what all the other candidates said. Past year has been some of the most productive work we've ever seen SGA do. Most importantly, it's been the most diverse and the most stemming from other types of leadership around campus. We've collaborated the most. We've enjoyed our time the most. And we've made work of all the funds that we get. That's a really unique thing, and I think with the experience I've gained, I can even amplify that even further with other projects and other objectives.
Okay, perfect. The next question is, what color would you choose to represent your candidacy? You can have a moment to think if you would like.
To be kind of off the cuff, I would have to say a nice generic blue.
Okay.
It's my favorite color, so I mean, I would say that, you know, all my posters that I've put up on campus over the past day now, they're blue.
Royal blue?
They're a lighter blue.
Okay.
Really any shade of blue, I think.
Really any
represents-
shade?
I love it. I love boats on the ocean.
Boats.
We'll go blue.
Got it. Perfect. Okay.
Orange, because it's the color of vitality, energy, and strength. Oh my god, ask Sarah. I'm also orange. Thanks. Love it. Perfect, thank you.
I think maybe yellow. I like yellow. It's a really pretty color, and I think that I don't know. Yellow is usually made with like sunshine and bright things, and I want to do bright things with things.
So I chose pink. A little light pink. One, I just think it's a really cute color. And 2, I think it's just so happy and so warming and welcoming and calming. And some people don't like pink, but I absolutely love pink. Thank you.
I am going to say just a nice bright red, something to grab your attention, got some energy to it.
That's also what I was going to say. My actual campaign ads are crimson, like Transy. It's a very bold color, and that's exactly what a Maine student representative should be, is bold. If I could have made it rainbow, I would have. The presidency does not work alone. I cannot do it alone. I need every color, because if I don't, I will fail.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. What are the top priorities you would focus on if elected?
Well, over the past 2 semesters that I've been on here, I've really made an emphasis on getting opportunities out to clubs and organizations that are throughout this campus. Both my projects are focused on clubs. The first one being the opportunity to get on the MyTransy website a link so you can see what clubs and who's running them, so that these students, like freshmen that get on campus, can get into these clubs and get connected with those leaders. Additionally, right now I'm working on a project that is going to have a newsletter for the clubs so that you can get notifications every single day, much like T-Notes, so that you can stay up to date if you want to join a club or go to a meeting, stuff like that. So one of the main goals, along with running the daily finances, is that these clubs have the opportunity to get some of our finances that we offer so they can get events going on campus.
If elected, my priorities would be maintaining an engaged membership.
Kate!
Oh my gosh, well, Kate could be her own answers now.
not sure what was said yet.
Okay, I think she didn't go over on the third question. So if you would like to speak from the mind, or if you want to get your notes.
Yes. The third question.
Was, what are the top priorities you would focus on if elected?
Oh, so my interest is really engaged senatorship. So as chief of staff, you know, you're part of being like in charge of the student government, like making sure everybody's attending and being engaged in their projects. So I think that I would thrive to be a resource for those projects that senators would do, and yeah, that's my main focus.
Thank you.
My main focus is similar to Kate's, and I want to try to create I want to try to get to know the senators and be like someone that they can go to when they need help with projects and stuff like that. And I really want to create a a friendship, if I can, with as many senators. I just want to help. Thank you.
So I think my biggest thing is I want to push community resources. So we already have so many resources on campus, but I feel like there can also be a lack of certain things. So one of the biggest things I did was the Narcan training and working with the Target 4 project to bring those types of resources to promote drug safety and just in general health well-being on campus. And I want to continue to provide that for students and encourage the senators who have that passion to also do the same thing, to bring in resources to students so they don't have to go to events that you necessarily have to pay for, or that they are something where they can go and they know that they're getting help if they need it, and they can contact people who can help them further in confidentiality or whatnot.
The first big point that I would really want to emphasize as vice president would be streamlining a lot of the internal expectations and goals for the positions that we have in SGA. So I know for myself, I've served as the FAAS representative, and there was a little bit of a lack of guidance with what that would entail and how to efficiently play that role. And I think that if we can cut this sort of this period where everybody's having to adjust to their new positions, we would be able to work more efficiently and be able to collaborate together rather than finding our own footing individually on how to navigate our new positions. And also outside of SGA, I think it would be great to increase our transparency with the student body, meaning I think similar to what you were saying, Braden, I think we need to be better engaged with the public and giving better access to what we have accomplished, and I think it goes both ways as well. I think we should have better access to the student opinions on where we have shortcomings on what we're doing and what they have specific requests for us to accomplish.
The three main points of my platform are advocacy, accessibility, and accountability. Advocacy, above all, is the most important because I'm more targeting towards the administration. We don't actually have a representative on the Board of Trustees. All besides 3 private colleges in the state of Kentucky do. And actually, by public law, all public institutions are legally required to. That's a bare minimum foundational thing that every student government needs to actually be successful and for your voice to be heard. That's something that's been worked on for the past over 15 years throughout SGA, and I hope to accomplish it in my next term. I've been trying a lot, and I've been making a lot of successful progress towards it this year. We're actually starting to set the stage to get introduced to all the Board of Trustees members and to change their mind, especially the chairman, Chris Young. Accessibility goes for both academic and student affairs related matters. For academics, we want everything to be accessible to all students to make sure they can succeed in their academic environments. For the student life, it's more about connecting clubs and people of different cultures to combine. SGA is a tool. We are a support. We're supposed to help students in those matters. And accountability is a lot more internal. It's making sure everyone on SGA does their job. Executives, major chairs, and just normal senators included. This year especially, we emphasized the code of conduct that was apparently lost to time. It's a paper that everyone has to sign, basically saying it's a code of ethics that you must adhere by as a senator and as a representative, and if you violate them, you're kicked out. Past few years, we haven't done that for whatever reason. I don't know why, but we brought it back this year, and I will continue to make that a priority.
What do you see as the biggest challenge facing our student body, and how would you address it?
I feel like I said, coming from a point of view that is related to clubs and organizations, I feel like one of the greatest challenges that we have is that when people do create clubs and they do want to promote them, I feel like we have a very low student body participation in them. I feel like that is a problem that is been going on for a long time, and I feel like that is something that we need to really focus on changing, which is what I've been trying to do in all of my projects so far, and I hope to accomplish that next year.
I think that transy students specifically face different feelings of like unbelonging, and when we're in a space of like societal turmoil or just instability, I think that maintaining that here in a learning environment is very crucial. So I would hope to pursue open lines of communication with staff, faculty, and students to make sure that everyone's on board with what is affecting our learning outcomes.
I feel one problem that students at Transy, at least I see going through, is a disconnect between like clubs and like even just the rest of the students in SGA. It seems like not a lot of students know what like clubs are doing, other than like unless it's like a big event that they put out there, and a lot of clubs have like a low amount of people actually applying for them and joining them. And I think clubs are really good on campus. They help encourage people to be vocal and go out and do things they haven't done before. So I feel like it would be good to try to help people learn like more about those and get more connected with their community and with everyone on campus.
I think the biggest thing is there seems to be a disconnect between faculty and student life. I think the biggest thing is a lot of faculty and maybe some teachers are not really accessible to their students or concerned with a lot of mental health and physical well-being of their students, and will pass that off as they're not the best academics. And I think that should be a really big push for change, because not everything can be a doctor's note and not everything needs an excuse to miss. I think education is still important. I think that's why we're all here. But at the same time, you cannot pause your own life and you cannot pause your own health in order to push through your classes sometimes.
Thank you.
One thing I love about Transy is how small we are, and I feel like a lot of people would agree with that. Just with our size, I feel like we've developed a really tight-knit community where everybody at least decently knows each other. You have friend groups that are sprouting against like all different groups of campus organizations, but I think an unintended consequence of that is that it's easy to lose sight of the power that we have as students just with our smaller size. And I think both through student government as well as the individuals who keep this institution running, it's important to keep that in mind and find ways that we can implement what we need on campus and what serves us best.
Thank you.
The biggest issue students face is one they actually probably don't even realize. The school has something called a 2030 master plan, which encompasses everything we've already talked about, basically. And have you heard about it? Because only I did like a month ago. Why didn't they ask us for any of our opinions? Why are they not going to us immediately, especially when it comes to student things? Some of the most pressing issues on campus, we're thinking like the lack of parking spaces and not enough dorm buildings. How are they still raising tuition despite not providing for some of our basic needs? What about the accessibility office always being like an open door with that faculty? What do we do when certain foundational things are not given, yet the school is expecting more money out of us and is now making a plan to expand their university that will only cause harm to us? Most importantly, they don't even ask our opinion in the matter, so we don't even know what will harm us until it already happens. We meet with President Lewis and plenty of other faculty on a monthly, if not more so, basis, and they bring it up and they're saying, we will ask you, we will ask you. There will be a time for us to say our opinion. It's probably going to be in like 2029. That doesn't help. Making sure we are on top of those things and forcing our opinion, even if they don't want to hear it, is the most important priority.
Thank you. Okay. The next question is, if you had to have an SGA superhero name, what would it be and why? Don't worry, you guys have time to think.
That was good. my last name.
Oh, strong.
Strong.
Absolutely.
Strong for people.
Strong for the people.
It's like the subtitle for people.
So,
Strong.
your superhero name is
Strong.
okay. and
We'll sort out.
and why?
Because I feel like that's my entire goal of being on SGA at all, is that we are for the people. And as such, we need to stand tall when they can't.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kate.
Well, mine would be the Great Kate. And don't mistake it. It would be a GR8 and K8. And my reasoning is simply because who doesn't love a rhyme?
Love it. Thank you.
That's a hard question. I guess to go along with the theme of what I've been talking about, the connector, that kind of sounds cool. So it's okay.
Do you have any reasoning?
I don't know. I think it helps explain, I guess, my goals and I don't know, my goals and just what I want to do and get done as such.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Oh Lord. Dude, superhero name. If I was a superhero, I would be loud, and I think I'd have to be the Boom.
Oh, that's okay.
This is not a cop-out. I am going to say that my superhero name would be Max, because
Hey, we have
this is
strong.
what-
We have that. We can have that.
There you go. To embody, I feel like we need max energy, max
Yes.
effort, max power.
Oh, yes.
And also, I feel like if I intentionally adopt Max as a superhero name, then it kind of counters like the questions that I get, like, oh, you have a dog name. Like,
Okay. Yes.
Two birds with one stone.
Love it. Thank you.
I can't follow that up very well. I've gotten a lot of names in the past year.
Yeah.
Superhero names. Superhero names.
Okay. I mean, President Poopy might be one. They call me Shonathan. Shonald. Important one, Shonald.
So if you had to pick one for specifically your SGA platform.
Oh, I was gonna do like a Legend of Zelda reference and say Ganondorf.
Okay. Do you have any specific reasoning?
It's best I don't elaborate.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay. So I'll propose ourselves for the next question. Describe your leadership style in one word and explain why.
I would say engaging.
Engaging. Why?
It would be engaging because that's my entire goal. If I don't know how to do something, I need to engage with someone who does. And that allows me to fully get a better picture of the situation and come to a solution that benefits everyone. If you're not engaged and you're doing it all by yourself, you're going to miss out on what a lot of people, what they want, and you might not be right.
Okay. Thank you.
I would say accountable. I think that when you're in a position of leadership, it's important that people who are under you or working alongside you can count on you and know that you're reliable and consistent in your efforts, and they can count on you. So,
I guess for mine it would be kind. For some people, especially like freshmen incoming that want to be senators, it could be scary to come up and talk with EC members or even people just that are in charge, and I want to show them that we're all just human, and that while it's scary, it's good to talk to other senators and other members.
Thank you.
So I think my biggest point of leadership is communication. I believe that if there is no communication, nothing will be able to happen. And that's between literally any sort of party. I want to be able to listen to senators and students and even staff about their concerns and what they want to see happen on campus or what they want to see taken away from campus, what needs to change, and how we can fix that together, or how I can help them fix that either on their own or just by providing advice and other things like that. But communication has to be kind of a two-way street, and it has to start with someone who may or may not have more power and have more resources, and being able to provide the resources that I have learned and have gained over the past year is something that I think would be incredibly useful and would be great for me to do as a vice president. Thank you.
If I had to pick one word, I would pick personable, because I think that the power and the strength of being vice president doesn't come from the position itself or the individual filling that space. I think it's in your ability to bring the best out of others, whether that be through student government or the student body in general. And I think that as vice president, I would be able to properly assist people and engage them in the ways that they would need.
The word I was going to choose is listener. The very first thing that's in the Constitution under the president is I'm the main representative for the student voice. I am supposed to be a platform for your opinions, for your thoughts, for your issues, for your anger. The real difference is I have a group of 27 other people and $7,500 a year to make that happen. That is the main goal of the presidency.
Okay, thank you. In one sentence, why should students vote for you?
Students should vote for me because no matter what, I'm always going to be early, I'm going to be prepared, and I'm going to be listening. And whatever they need, and however I need to do it, I will do it for them.
I have leadership experience with SGA and other student orgs on campus. I'm an upcoming senior, so I know Transie's inner workings pretty well by now. And I believe student government is a vehicle for meaningful change.
Thank you.
The reason why students should vote for me is because even no matter what happens with the votes, I'm still going to keep pushing myself and doing as much good for campus as I can.
Thank you.
I think the reason you should vote for me as vice president is because I have already had my experience helping students and in creating their own events and reaching out to faculty and staff, and I want to continue to do that either as a vice president.
Thank you.
I'm asking for students' votes because I think I have good experience both on campus through student life, but I also acknowledge that I am not perfect, and I am open to benefiting from the engagement of everybody around me.
Thank you.
Students should vote for me because I will never give up in any endeavor that benefits the student body.
Thank you. Okay. Our next question is, which aquatic species do you most identify with? Shark, stingray, starfish, anemone, or goldfish?
Repeat the list one.
Yeah, okay. Which aquatic species do you most identify with? Shark, stingray, starfish, anemone, or goldfish?
Nice.
I don't know, something's pointing me towards goldfish.
Okay.
I don't know, I had goldfish when I was growing up as a kid, and I always thought they were really cool. When I was in Dean Covert's office earlier, and he has goldfish, so that's funny.
Maybe that's you.
It could be me.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, I was going to say that, but I'm going to choose a different answer now. I'm actually going to say a stingray because at first glance might be a little scary. Might have some questions about why there's such a reputation behind a stingray. I'm not saying that I have a reputation that precedes me. I'm just saying that I think that they're misunderstood and we should have empathy for all mammals. All, what are they called?
Aquatic species.
Aquatic species. Is a stingray a mammal? Let's talk about it.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you. Okay.
My pick would have to be goldfish because, goldfish, they look a lot different than what people would imagine them. Because people imagine them as like the small little fish that you get from carnivals and stuff like that. Goldfish can actually grow to be really big, and they can be really beautiful creatures. It's just the like the only way that a goldfish can grow is if you put it in the right environment and if you treat it properly with all its needs that it needs to get done, and that usually doesn't happen with fresh goldfish. I really like goldfish.
Perfect.
I really like learning about them.
Thank you.
Okay, since axolotl wasn't an option, I'd have to choose a starfish. And that's odd, but it also, I feel like when you think about it and how they are, it does represent me in a lot of ways because starfish are really resilient. I mean, they have to navigate the sea, they have to navigate the water.
Yes, absolutely.
And without much assistance, but they have everything with them. And also, if they like lose an arm or anything, they regenerate it back. And I'm a very resilient person. I'm very much a problem solver. I've always been that my whole life. So I would be a starfish out of the options.
Perfect. Thank you.
You may not believe me, but you did almost steal my answer word for word. But I'm going to say starfish. My animal knowledge is limited, but if you think of a starfish, you're going to picture them sticking to a rock, and they're not letting go. And I feel like I am equally resilient, both of us. And yeah, chop an arm off, it's grown back, and they're good to go. I also feel like I do my best to be a positive person, and when you think of a starfish, I know you're picturing the smile on his face.
Patrick Star.
No.
That feels like
No.
No, he's so funny.
Like the starfish from the
I'm a goldfish. I have memory issues. For this job, you kind of have to be a shark because you have to be relentless and persistent all the time, no matter what. So,
Okay. Perfect.
and the goldfish, I got that.
Okay. The next question is, no complaining allowed. What is your favorite calf dessert or regular dessert?
Easy.
That's so difficult. It would have to be the carrot cake. To be honest, I had it like a couple weeks ago when I had it, and it was just, it actually was like it wasn't from calf, and it surprised me. It really
That's
did.
better.
So,
Well, I don't eat in calf because I have celiac disease, so I can't eat there. But my favorite dessert is a good ice cream. Like, favorite flavor is mint chocolate chip, hands down.
Similar to Kate's response, my favorite, like one of my favorite desserts from a calf is their ice cream. It's my little pick-me-up for the day. It's my little sweet treat that I get, but their banana pudding is also really good.
Okay, so my initial thought was the chocolate muffins at Gratz, but then I realized you said calf, and it's the tres leches cake. And anytime I look on the menu and think of tres leches cake, I am on my way. It's so good. They do so well with it.
one answer I have is the carrot cake specifically without the raisins. It's just a little bit better.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Other answer is something that all of you can go get right now. They're serving it every day. And that is the vanilla ice cream, but you bring it over to the coffee station. Yeah. And you put some coffee in there, you mix it up a little bit, let it melt. It is too good.
Can you say the real name for this creation?
Have I named it?
No. It's called an affogato, which is like ice cream. Max just like creates
I thought I
it.
named it.
But we'll let you have this
You
one.
gotta try it.
I've been called old all my life. The oatmeal raisin cookies are so good, especially at Calf.
Yes, you got clear support.
The newest pastry chef knows exactly what they're doing. That's all I'm saying. Team raisin.
Okay, so those were all of my general questions for you guys. So now we're gonna move to specific questions for each role. Okay, for Chief of Finance, what is your experience with handling or organizing funds?
yeah, great question. This summer, between going into college, I worked at a local insurance agency. And one of the things I got to do was I got to see how the finances worked in regards to, so they're not a traditional insurance agency, it's a independent agency. So what they do is they get a percentage of what they sell to the company, essentially your policy. So you get to see kind of how those funds got to go there and how the budget works and things like that. I also got to do that with an internship that I had in high school with the admissions office of my high school. So
Chief of Staff, what has been your experience dealing with people, and what would you do if any of the senators had drama? Kate, we'll start with you.
I can't possibly imagine a student government where there would be drama. That was sarcasm. I have had leadership roles. I was former president of T Unity. I've been serving as treasurer for the Muslim Student Association. So helping, fellow EC members organize events and things like that. Reaching out for, help is very frequent on all of those roles. But I also am, these are just like how I interact with people, the first part. I'm a staffer in the Writing Center. Shout out if you're also a staffer or if you've had an appointment with me. But sometimes, those can get a little stressful and, your writing overwhelms you. And then you start talking about other people and it's a whole thing. But, okay, for student government, I think that my approach to conflict is try to be objective and, you're reaching an end goal. So I feel confident in my ability to facilitate, reaching that common ground and fanning the flames. Wait, that's the wrong expression. Not that.
Putting out the flames.
Fanning out. No.
Putting out.
Putting out the flames. Yes, with a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, got it. Okay, would you like me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. What has been your experience dealing with people, and what would you do if any of the senators had drama?
So dealing with people, I've had a lot of good experience with that just in my senior year of high school. In my senior year of high school, I was an ambassador for, so the way my school works is that we had a technical college, and not technical college, technical school that was in line with ours. I was in the computer science portion for it, and I did a lot of things there. So I was an ambassador for our computer science program specifically. So I think we presented the computer science program to everybody, to I think over 800 students in my school's district, ranging from the middle schoolers all the way to the preschoolers. We were there to basically inform them about what that school could do and what they could get done at that school, and different job opportunities and opportunities in college that they could eventually get if they went through that path. As well as in my senior year of high school, I got a job with our school's after school program. So what I did was every day after school, I would go to the preschool and I would help take care of the preschoolers and help teach them and play with them and such like that. That's a lot of my experience with people, but the way that I handled conflicts at the preschool might honestly be the way that I handled conflicts for SGA, which is just basically taking both parties aside, discussing what happened individually, and figuring out what the problem was and how we could grow and learn to reason out what happened and maybe stuff like that. Sorry.
No, thank you. Okay, for Vice President, your question is, how do you see your role in working with the President, and what specific initiatives would you take the lead on to improve student lives?
Well, with him right there.
I can wait.
SGA, you want to make you leave?
You might want to hear this. So I think the biggest thing with working with the President is really keeping a strong communication and making sure that your ideas are not you can always have conflict and resolve it, but making sure that there's no miscommunication happening, especially between such powerful positions like that, because I feel like that can also inherently affect the senators in the miscommunication and not representing them fairly, and also the same goes for the student body, is just not having fair representation. But I think another part of it is just making sure that there are not any toes being stepped on. And that can go for president interacting with senators or other EC members or even just other major chairs. It's just making sure that there is a balance within SGA and overall just in the student body.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think one of the nice things about the position of being vice president is that there's a little bit of leeway for how you actually implement that role in the school year. And with the president, I know that you have a long list of activities and expectations put on you. And I think working with Sean in seeing how I can best serve him and what he needs is obviously something that I would prioritize. But also, even though you've done really well staying in touch, I think, with senators as individuals and their projects that they have going on, the vice president is very capable and is given the time to have that more personal aspect with the senators and the projects that are going on. I know the last semester I've taken on the position of creating surveys for our student government body, so if you've gotten any of those in your inbox, you have me to thank for that. Fill out your first engagement survey if you haven't yet. But yeah, kind of being on the back end with that administrative position and assisting and collaborating with a lot of different individuals to get what they want enacted has been a really good learning experience for me, but also shown me that this is really where I exceed in student government, and I really want to be able to foster the creativity in our senators and also give the president space to get a lot of the administrative work done on their end.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, for the president, what makes you feel motivated to run for president again?
I mentioned it kind of at the start, but this is a very rare and unique opportunity. I'd be the fourth person to ever do it at this school, despite us starting in 1780. It has a lot of unique perks, especially, all right, I'll be blunt, some of the hardest part is dealing with the executive committee because they are the ones designed to tell me no. And I would like, Quincy, you know for a fact I'm telling you too having. It's the idea of those are my strongest supporters and also checkers. They are my checks and balances entirely within SGA, and without them, I would not be able to do it at all. Now that I know the rundown, now that I know kind of how it goes, what's expected of a president, what annual things come on, how to run a meeting well and efficiently, and especially what's to come with future projects, like I said, 2030, any other initiatives we want to do. I'm much more confident in how to use the resources at my disposal. I'm much more confident with delegating my powers to other senators and the executives, and I'm much more comfortable trusting and giving a platform to anyone else. Now that I actually know how this whole role works with the whole representative thing, it's way easier to give any one of you a microphone and just say, it's your voice, you tell them what you want to hear. My job is to just be that tool.
Okay, perfect. And that wraps up the debate. And I want to give a special thanks to Kat for donating our plates. So yay, Kat. And yes, sorry, that's actually. Okay, so now we're going to open the floor to questions from the audience and see if you guys have anything to say. Any questions? Okay, Janaya.
This is for Brayden. I'm going to be very clear about why I'm asking this question to you in particular. There's been a widely circulated rumor that you've used discriminatory language in the past. Since then, what specific intentional efforts have you made, not just to move on, but to truly hold yourself accountable, grow, and ensure that your leadership won't perpetuate harm?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm fully aware of that rumor. That was something I really dealt with in the first semester of getting here, on top of everything else. I think that what I did to not necessarily just move on, but learn from the experience is that I did go and I talked to Chrislyn, as you're aware, I'm sure. I did talk to DT as well with that situation that did occur. With anything also along with that, with SGA, I discussed it with Sean, and I wanted to make sure that my intentions were pure. There is no aspect of my leadership whatsoever that would be discriminatory or anything like that. You could ask anyone that's ever met with me or worked with me whatsoever, and they would know that that is 100% false. So I would say that while I understand the question 100%, I think that moving forward, I have done everything that I need to do thus far to show to everyone on campus that that is not who I am, nor is that what I represent, nor is that what I would want to represent whatsoever.
So what are these specific changes and efforts that were made, and who from the marginalized community can vouch for you that these efforts were made?
I mean, can you like further specify that question? Like, what do you?
Yes, you're saying to me, from my perspective, that you have put the work in and the student body has seen them. So I want to know if you can pinpoint what specific efforts you've done, in particularly how it can be applied to SGA. How have you showed up within your role as a senator, and then within the spaces such as DEI, academic affairs? How have you been intentional with incorporating your own values within that space and making sure that the mistake that you have made has allowed, that you have grown from this mistake, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
100%.
I just wish you could be more specific with it,
Okay.
and more particular.
Yeah, sounds good, absolutely. Kind of what I discussed earlier about my intention with clubs and accessibility to these clubs. There is no discrimination or prejudice whatsoever against any of these clubs that I am trying to promote and excel. I want all clubs on this campus to succeed and get great student participation and awareness. That's really essentially as far as that goes right there. Is that everything I've done post this controversy has been 100% non-discriminatory in any practices that I've done at all. And like I said, you can ask anyone that knows me personally. You can ask any brother in my fraternity. You can ask any person here on SGA if I've ever done anything whatsoever that would be along those lines, and the answer would be no. I would stand on that.
I'm just asking, as a marginalized community who has been affected by your words, I just wish it was more specific and you could pinpoint where exactly I know that you could expand from where you fell short previously. So yeah, I just want to be able to put my trust in you that you're able to lead SGA, and what's happening behind closed doors isn't going to permeate within this space, this professional space where we're meant to actually facilitate change.
Yeah, 100%. I would, if you're open to it, we could always have a personal conversation about this if you'd like to. I would love to make you feel better about myself and my actions and what I would like to see going forward. So if you would be interested in that, I would be 100% open to doing something like that.
Any other questions?
15 years. This is a question for all of you, and I hope you all answer the question. So SGA is a very time-consuming position, and I can speak to attest that's why I'm not where you are standing right now, because I've learned my limits and learned that I can give my all to this organization as it serves. So my question is, how are you all going to go about all the other organizations and all the other clubs and jobs and everything else that you all hold? Because, I'm looking at you all and I know you from different things and different places and everything like that. So I guess, what does your plate look like? And going forward, how can you ensure that you are dedicating yourself to this organization, to the representation of our students?
Yeah. You want to go to start?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can just keep going down.
I can start.
Sure.
Okay, I have thought about this a lot. This is something that I put a lot of attention in when I decided to run for chief of staff. I will be a senior, so I'm going to make student government my main priority as far as student life. And I think that, what I've done before is meaningful and impactful, and those connections will stay with me through student government, whether I am elected or if I am elected into the senator position again. I work in the writing center and I have an off-campus job, but I am confident in my ability to coordinate with the EC about meetings and to really schedule time for this job.
Does anybody want to do? You don't have to go in any order.
Yeah, I can end it off. That's fine.
Okay. So time is something that I've struggled with so much in my first year here at Trinity. I've been involved with a a good few things, and I've been very stressed out. One thing that I wanted to do coming up my sophomore year was to actually go through the effort to order my time as best as I can. I have my work study job, and I'm planning on getting an off-campus job in my sophomore year. But in terms of that, I'm not I don't need money. I have my parents that support me. The money is mainly just for fun, so I'm not going to take many hours in my off-campus job, basically as few as possible. And as for things that I have with other, things on campus, I've made sure to try my best to get things that don't take much time outside of the specific time slots that they're in. And I think that with the load I've given myself for next year, I can allot proper time to each thing that I need to.
You ready? Or you want me to go?
He's ending it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's ending it. Okay, awesome. So, I'm very lucky enough that the role of vice president is kind of aligned with what I already do, which is I literally will explore any sort of event on campus. I love going to all the philanthropy events, all student-led organization events, everything is just so nice and lovely. I always explore there, and I think that would also be really helpful to my position, is getting to know other students and what their organizations are doing, and inspiring them and senators to also come out and see what everything's doing to sort of make everyone feel more included on campus and introduce people to new ideas. And overall, other than that, I just have work study job, and that's at MFA, get tickets. We have great events coming. But other than that, that's also a fun part of my job, because I get to interact with the community and the people who come and perform with us. So overall, my whole schedule has always been, ever since I came here, is getting myself as involved on campus as possible. And I think it's kind of like the work and fun aspect will be really pushed together, because I'm able to also, if I take the vice president position, to inspire senators and inspire other students to see these things and want to do them and want to continue growing these communities.
Yeah. I think that's a really good question, and definitely time management is something that I've considered since coming to college. And my first year, I really did have I was members of a few different clubs, but I feel like I really did have a relaxed time, and I didn't try to overexert myself. And this year, I've taken on a few different things. For transparency, I work in admissions. I am vice president of CAC. I'm still a member of a few different groups on campus, attending their events. But I really found that I feel like I thrive off of staying busy and keeping up with that momentum. And I think with the position of vice president, I will be able to handle the workload that comes with that. And even through student government this year, I've taken on, like I said earlier, 2 minor chair positions, and I've conducted my own personal projects as well. So I've been able to handle the workload of that so far, and I'm confident in my ability, one, to handle the extra tasks that being vice president would take on, but also in saying that I think it would push me even further to be more efficient and accomplish more than what I already am.
I'm very similar to Max. I thrive off that kind of momentum. So the more busy I am, usually it means the more efficient I work. The few other positions that I have, I'm a vice president in Delta Sig. I'm an executive member on Transient Advocates for Accessibility and College Democrats. I help do a lot of philanthropy-related stuff, Students Against Hunger and Homelessness, sometimes food justice, and just other things outside of campus. But the main priority, especially with president and the next presidency, if I get another term, is to always do more, more, more. There can never be enough student voice. And the idea, especially for me, is I always will prioritize this job over all others. I tell everyone in those organizations, I prioritize this job over all others. And if need be, I'd be willing to quit every single one to just prioritize on this.
And then 3.
kind of like Sean said, that SGA has been a top priority in my 2 semesters so far here at Transy. I am the Alumni Relations Chair for my fraternity. I'm also Vice President of the Entrepreneurship Club. I pride myself on time management. I prioritize my schoolwork first. I get it done early, sometimes a week if necessary, so that I have time to do jobs like this that I'm interested in. And I think that that will allow me to have plenty of time to work as the Chief of Finance.
Oh my gosh, okay. I think I saw Hannah first.
Okay. So I know that there are a lot of things that are outside of your power. And like currently we are seeing attacks on students and education, specifically when it comes to things like DEI. I know, again, there are things that you cannot control, but you do have a lot of power, more power than a lot of other students on campus. So this goes to any of you. What plans or things do you have in place, ideas, to ensure that clubs and organizations like BSA, like LSA, like ASA, and T-Unity are protected regardless of what happens?
Can I answer this one first?
Whoever.
Okay. Especially, I actually disagree with the first statement. We can affect every single thing that comes to our desk, and primarily because I messed up this year and I did not prioritize it nearly enough. If we can't solve the problem on campus, then we go off of it. It's actually shockingly easy to get in touch with state representatives, state senators. The governor even is willing to do, especially with student governments. Today, the UK SGA president is going around to every single representative that's in their district of Lexington. I'm absolutely going to be doing that too, and we're going over every single issue. I can also safely say that the student government will always firmly be in favor of those type of judges that protect student rights, protect any type of LGBTQ+ rights, to make sure that all students are able to attend and safely go here.
Can I answer this next? Okay, so I am a part of the DEI committee in SGA, and I have mainly really interacted myself with other clubs and organizations that fall under that umbrella, and we have had so many conversations about like that type of thing, where right now, you can also correct me if I'm wrong, we are trying to right now, because there are policies trying to make us kind of change our name just so we don't face any sort of attacks going forward. So maybe don't be surprised if there is a name change with DEI policies on campus, but overall, that is literally what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep the students as protected as possible. I mean, even me, I am very thankful for the DEI policies we have on campus. And it is genuinely something that I think is so important, more than ever now. And I want to personally, especially talk to students and senators and make sure that we are upholding those standards and we are upholding our rules we have now. And even then, if the rules we have now aren't working, we change them to make them work for everyone. Does anyone else like to answer?
I can answer. I guess something that I would do is try to connect students to the different clubs that we have and show them how important they are. Because SGA, while it has a powerful voice, its voice gets amplified if other students not in SGA also speak up about these issues. Things can go a long way if people agree and are vocal about like ways we can change and voice support for these different clubs and communities, because they are very important for this campus.
I think as vice president, I would really want to prioritize being open to these conversations and seeing what ways I can better represent the diverse student population that we have. But even past just being open, I also want to foster those conversations and make sure that everybody is engaged in them as much as they can be. I know from friends that LSA, BSA, ASA, all of these groups have had to tackle a lot of these new policies and actions in very unique ways, and they're having to make unique decisions on how to work around some of the issues that they're experiencing. And I think having clear and open conversations with these will, one, make sure that we are working in alignment with what the students want, and also make sure that we are doing what is best for everybody, and that we find strength in what we're doing rather than succumbing to, I think, sometimes the pressures that there are to, to give in and not resist. But we do have a lot of strength in our position as students, and I think that there's a lot that we can push back on with what is happening currently.
I think that SGA is the voice of the students, and these student organizations are crucial to the diversity that we do have on campus and ensuring that it does remain prevalent. I think that it's crucial that while they might have to change their name, that Grisland and that office does stay and is an important factor on our campus, because without that, what kind of coerced community are we?
I agree with it. Everything that has been said. Yeah, I just think like involving professors too is important, because they are advisors to these student orgs, and having those open conversations. Like I know that our SGA president has meetings with Transy's president monthly, so keeping updates there and making sure that we can relay the message through them is important. But everything else is like a second. So.
Thank you. Okay, Ethan.
I would just like to ask Sean specifically about, you mentioned the 2030 plan.
Yep.
And just a code of ethics as well. Could you just elaborate on what those things would entail, and like what is the plan for this campus? Like, I feel like we're kind of in the dark on that.
Okay, give me a second. I'm going to start the code of ethics. That's way shorter.
Yeah.
The code of ethics is a piece of paper. It's basically a mini contract that every senator and chairperson and executive must sign before they actually officiate their role into student government. If they break any one of those codes of conduct that are listed out, and I make sure they read them very carefully, they're up for immediate expulsion. There is a zero policy rule when it comes to a lot of SGA's things. And that used to be a thing, and then it stopped for like 5 to 10-ish years, and it was in our files this whole time, and we're looking at our constitution. It says they must sign the code of ethics, and we're like, what's that? So we brought it back to make sure that there's an actual disciplinary measure in case of any type of missteps. We also revamped our expulsion process. Any student, any full-time student, can just want to kick one of us out for certain valid reasons. And if you get enough signatures, we go through a whole court case process, and that will most likely lead to expulsion as well. It is very easy to get us out of office if you do not want us here. That's the point. You put us here, you should be able to remove us with ease. And I firmly believe that, and I think the code of ethics is just a perfect way to outline exactly what we're supposed to do. The 2030 plan encompasses, it's the Board of Trustees and the administration's plan to design literally everything. Academics, student life, the administration itself, how much they get paid. The main highlight that I find interesting is the campus plans, the building plans. What buildings do they want on campus? When do they want them? What are the blueprints like? What do the sidewalks look like? What are the parking lots? All that stuff that more has to do with outside politics. They have to get approval from the city, the state representatives. They have to get grants for this because they don't have the money right now. That's a whole nother story. 2030 plan also outlines which majors and minors are coming and going, which professors are going to be hired, tenured, fired, all of it. Right now, they've hosted 3 sessions. You might have seen it on T-Notes, to where faculty are able to give their advice. It's like, I don't know, they host like a little tabling club thing in the pile room, so you're supposed to show up and the faculty give their things. I asked Brian Lewis about it. He specifically said it's not for students yet. It's not gonna be. It's not. Don't assume it will be. He gets paid $441,000 a year to do not much. So assume there won't be. The idea is that we have to kind of force that opinion. And right now, I don't know the full details of it. I haven't seen it. I've just been told about it. I want to see it. I'm assuming it's going to be very long, very complicated, and very controversial. And I'm more than happy.
I'm glad to have someone who challenge that.
Okay, any other questions?
graduating. I know everybody thinks about what they've done in college and all of the like impacts that they do, and like the one thing you want to remember. So think in your head. It's gonna be for anyone. Really want to target Sean, but he didn't. You're welcome. Is what do you want your legacy to be for SGA? It can be like a short little sentence. What legacy do you want to leave on this campus? How do you want to be remembered?
I'm going first. Because I had to think about this last year. That's part of my campaign and what I wanted to do as president and what I want to keep going. It's stability and legitimacy. The reason why the code of ethics and all this stuff doesn't get talked about and is lost over time is because over time SGA just loses its seriousness. Some students just won't care about the student government. Some students will see the word government and intentionally be against us because of previous cultural assumptions and things like that. It's our goal to, one, first, be stable. Make sure we can run internally and not fight amongst each other, which is still inevitable to happen, but have things like the code of ethics in place to have systems to make sure it stays running. And then I say legitimacy, to make sure the students take us seriously and know that they can take us seriously. We're an actual listening voice. We're not politicians that get elected by a popular vote to spend money on t-shirts for ourselves. The whole point, this is from previous years, by the way, this is an example of what not to do. The whole point is to spend all $7,500 or more on every other student club, every other student, to make sure student voices are heard and that they know to take us seriously, including the faculty and the administration.
What a short answer.
Not bad.
I will keep it quick.
How was one sentence?
I mentioned this earlier, but I do think, and in agreement with what Sean is saying, I think it's really important to streamline the expectations and support systems that we have in SGA for the different positions that we have. I think it's great whenever we have exceptional people in these roles and we accomplish all that we can, but I also don't think that it's beneficial to the student body overall if we are dependent on having exceptional people in those positions. And I think that by providing clearer outlines for what each role is expected to do, we can more efficiently work as an organization. And I've currently, with establishing the polling chair, I've put effort into outlining all the data I've collected so far with the surveys I've done. I've made a pretty thorough, few-page long list of the rules and guidelines that I use myself for whenever I'm making these polls with other students. And with FAAS, I have worked with the faculty in that committee to outline expectations to better prepare and orient future student representatives who take that seat. And that is really what I think, I guess I want my legacy to be, but also our legacy for SGA going forward. I think that we need to be a strong and stable organization that holds its presence on campus.
Okay, short answer. That is very important. I want to be able to build confidence and reassure the senators who I'm helping as vice president and allow them to connect with their community as well as the campus and build up their resources.
Another short answer. I just want to be a welcoming voice for new and returning senators, as well as just a welcoming voice for non-SGA students, because a lot of them don't know what we do and a lot of them don't know much about SGA. And I just want to show that SGA is there for them. We are their voice. And that, yeah, thank you.
I really liked what Max said about not, needing to have exceptional people in these roles, though I think we're all exceptional, okay? I do. But I think that my approach to that question is not really wanting to be remembered for anything specifically. I want to be, like what I said about my work for leadership is accountable. So I just want to be able to provide that stability and accountability in the role of chief of staff.
Thank you.
I want the legacy to be that over the course of my tenure on SGA, students became more active and participated in more events, whether it's clubs, fraternities, whatever, so that they get their full college experience.
Okay, we have time for, oh my gosh. Isaiah, we'll have 2 more questions.
I'm not quite confident of this question, but I want to know how might the principles of SGA, the principles you learned SGA benefit you in the real world for post graduation. This may end right now, it's not
Alright, fine. The biggest thing is I've had to learn is this is the best part about SGA and the worst part about it. I don't get to choose who I work with. You do. I don't get to choose who my vice president is. You do. It means no matter what, I have to cooperate and get along with whoever actually gets elected. And most importantly, that means reaching them from where they are and actually more or less examining their strengths, amplifying their strengths, and making sure everyone has a job to play, is satisfied in their position, and actually wants to come back for the next year. That, I think, applies quite well to the real thing.
I can answer that. Similar to what Sean says, I don't have control over other SGA senators or EC. That is the people. So it does push you to communicate with several different people on campus, new and people that you've never spoken to, as well as emails. So many emails. I struggle to differentiate professional speak and just me speaking normally a lot of times. And writing emails to professors and stuff like that has been very difficult. So SGA has helped teach me how to write proper emails, and I've written a few. So many emails.
I'll go next. I think the biggest thing SGA has taught me is how to have confidence in myself. Whether that is just speaking up in meetings whenever I don't agree with something that we were talking about, or going to professors, faculty, or staff, or other senators when I believe that something we are doing is wrong, or I think something we are doing is changed, or fighting for projects I want to do whenever if they're getting slapped down and the people don't want to do them, I'm able to fight for what I want to do, and I want to inspire that in other senators and other students, because whenever you have an opinion about something, I still believe obviously you need to work together, you need to hear what other people say, but if you have something you want to do, you should not let people shoot you down from doing that. You should still fight for what you want. Thank you.
I would say it's getting out of your comfort zone. These projects that we do could range from talking to other students, talking to faculty, talking to the executive staff of this university. So it really challenges you to step up and speak for your fellow students and get their goals accomplished.
Absolutely.
I think for myself, one big benefit that I've had from joining SGA and maintaining my position here has been finding dedication within myself to something that I don't have to do. So with school, obviously, I do my best, but I'm also paying for that, and I'm rewarded for that. And I think that there's a lot of strength and confidence too, like you were saying, like in that you can find within yourself just by, going to every Wednesday meeting that ends at 9 p.m. and finding more projects to take on and implement on campus. But yeah, I think that's how I've benefited most personally, and I see that sticking with me even after leaving Transy. I think there is a lot of potential and room for growth by forcing yourself to give something value and finding the strength that you can put forth in those groups and spaces.
I guess I will give an answer. I specifically worked as Constitution Chair this semester and last semester, so I think carefully reading outside of academic writing, and I aspire to go to law school, so I think that will really help me working with others to kind of, dissect something that is so not of this, relative speaking way that we talk right now. It's like shall. Okay, you know, like in the Word, in the document. And so, I mean, just like deciphering what other people might have meant in past, you know, like EC years of SGA, but everything else echo.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, 2 more questions. Christian.
Yes. Well, first off, I want to say that like it was just good to hear from all of y'all. I think that there's a lot that you guys are gonna bring to the table, just like how to bring to be able to represent other people. But then I also just want to ask how like long-term goals that would be still in effect after even you guys are out of office. So.
I'd like to go first. So what we have said before, I think I didn't get to say this, but I'm glad that someone brought it up. Streamlining the processes for what each role of student government entails, what like FAAS chair is, what Constitution chair is, what Chief of Staff, what, you know, all of these different roles. I think that every year we try to be better about it. I mean, there's even something that I've worked on toward the end of this semester right now is like, if we want t-shirts, how do we go about getting t-shirts? You know, like what, you have to go through marketing, you have to go through this. So just like, I think that will be lasting enough, like in how we can approach every situation.
Yeah, I want to second that just completely. I really don't have my own thoughts on this question. I fully agree with
I
that.
took yours.
No. I mean, I feel like this is something that we all have felt being in student government, and I think that's the major change that I want to see. Whenever I took the position of the FAAS student representative, I couldn't even tell you what that acronym stood for. So I think just providing these clear strategic plans for students to reference and fall back onto would be really helpful going forward.
I think, kind of like Sean said earlier in the speech, long-term goal is that the students have greater representation with the administration, with getting a SGA person on the board of trustees to give them our opinions on how we feel about that would be a wonderful long-term achievement.
Long-term goal is similar to what Sean and Ryan said, but on the other hand, for students, I want, while they said faculty, I want to bridge the gap with SGA students. Like I've mentioned before, a lot of students don't know what SGA does, they don't know SGA's events. They don't really understand what our purpose on campus is. Like, I have friends personally who I've told them about SGA, like my projects and such in SGA, and they have no idea what that is. I really want to help tell students and show them that our, like, things that we do on campus is because of their input. It's because of students telling us what changes they want to see on campus. There are so many brilliant minds in SGA, but there's only so much we can think up of ourselves. Listening to what students have to offer and seeing what changes we can make to benefit them and other people on campus is one of the most important things in SGA, and I really want to bridge that gap a little bit.
So I think the biggest thing with the long term and also keeping students involved and letting students understand what we're doing is building a confidence in our students or in the senators. It's just because I feel like if we're building confidence within our group, it kind of translates and rubs off on others. Whenever you have confidence and you're able to help others in their ideas and their just thoughts and ideas, then you're spreading that, and it will continue to grow.
Board of Trustees member, we're sitting, voting, we need that. That's just fundamental. We need constant communication, always, with student organizations and faculty. And the third is we need student engagement. On a good day, on the best election season we've ever had, and it's primarily because Quincy was there, we got 350 votes. There's around 1,000 people on this campus. We need more students to want to engage and trust SGA enough to engage with that process.
Okay. Janai, last question. This question is
standard that is above the complicity of the institution? Are you okay with having a target on your back when it comes to leading bold initiatives that will break down the very structure of community in order to accommodate diversity within the student body?
You can answer.
I'll say for myself, I enjoy having like friendly and respectful relationships with other students and faculty and administrators. I see President Lewis on my tours every week. He comes and talks to the families, and I think there's benefit to having that relationship, but also I think it's important to have those relationships bounded by the fact that you have morals and you have principles that you are basing your decisions off of. And so just to answer your question simply, yes, I would be very comfortable having a target on my back for whatever actions or procedures that we have going on with SGA if I feel like they align with what I want to see for our campus.
I very much agree with you on that. I think the biggest thing with our power as senators in the student government is that we can fight back to the faculty. And I think inherently we already, especially after this year, we already kind of have a target on our back from, higher ups. And I think it's important to keep that. I think it's important to, stand up for our students, and whenever they're doing things that make us feel not included and kind of push down other students, whether it's freshmen or lower income students, it's just in general, it's important that we as students, when we're seeing this stuff and we're seeing the impact it's having, that we go directly to them when we fight for what is right within our student body, because overall we are paying to be here. We are paying them. We are the reason they are here. And I think it is important that we keep that as a kind of like incentive to want to help us and want to make us happy and to want to bring more students in, because inherently that goes in their pockets.
To answer your question, I have core ideals for myself that I am very stubborn and will always uphold. And one of them is being as welcoming and open-minded as I possibly can, and being a support for anyone I possibly can. I am, as you asked, I am fine with having a target on my back because, honestly, like I said, I am very stubborn, and I don't like being told no if I feel like something is right.
Growth is uncomfortable, but it's growth. So I think I'm very comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think that with my work as Constitution Chair, I've seen that we do have procedures in place to hold other senators accountable. And I feel like that I would enforce that potentially even more on the EC because of our, position. So yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
I think that being a part of SGA is being a part of something that's greater than ourselves. We are a group of people that represent those in the student body that can't necessarily do what we have the ability to do in regards to things with the administration itself. So it inherently comes with that target that you have on your back. That's a responsibility that we all sign up and agree to do, and it's a responsibility.
Okay. So now we're going to close with your platform statements. So, Wrigley, if you want to start, kind of just like,
I got you. So my platform is based on 3 key things: opportunity, accessibility, and unity. Every student should have the opportunity to thrive, succeed, and be heard here on campus. Accessibility should be a standard across campus, and I'm dedicated to ensuring this principle applies to every part of the school and SGA itself. Finally, my top priority is representing every student. I'm committed to ensuring that all voices are heard and every concern is addressed. And hopefully through these 3 key principles, I will ensure that Transy is the best place possible to learn, grow, and thrive in all aspects of our lives.
Thank you. So I apologize, I do not have a platform statement prepared at this time.
You just shoot from the mind.
So I will. So in the Constitution, the role of Chief of Staff is to take meeting minutes, record legislation, changes, altercations, all of that, and to communicate with cohesion and clarity. So I think that that role I would be able to fulfill and meet all of the requirements, and in addition to serving as a resource for senators on projects, brainstorming ideas, and taking into account all aspects of our, Transylvania to make sure that we're doing what we can for the betterment of all students.
So my campaign platform, I have been dwelling over the past couple of days on what to write, and honestly, I wasn't able to get words down until today. I don't like what I originally wrote, so instead I am going to speak from my mind, because I think what I wrote originally is more of me trying to figure out what others think the role should be, and I want to say what I think the role should be. I want to be a voice for those that might not be confident enough to speak up on their own. I want to connect with senators and show them that their projects mean something, that whatever they do on campus, big or small, it means a lot, and any sort of thing, any sort of progress we can make to making this campus more inclusive and comfortable for students not only affects us, but it affects incoming freshmen years after we've graduated. SGA's role is important, and I really want to make that clear, and I want to basically show attention to all the amazing things that senators have done and will continue to do with the support of their peers and other students on campus. And that's it.
Thank you. So my platform is composed of advocacy, communication, and collaboration. I want to represent the wants and needs of the student body and be able to do them justice and give them answers to their questions and make sure that everyone is spoken for whenever they may not have a voice. I also believe in communication between the students and the senators so that we are able to communicate ideas thoroughly and really figure out what they want to do, and also so that I am able to help them and voice my concerns and overall give them advice if they need it and if they want it. And also with collaboration, I want to work with all of the campus organizations and especially senators to be able to make their dreams come true with what they want to do and help them build projects or events that will help them later on in life build their resumes, build their careers, build their passions for whatever. And overall, I think I have come into resources myself that have really helped me grow and be able to help other senators and just other students in that way.
I see the role of a vice president as being centered around communication and support, one within SGA and outside of it as well. In this position, I would hope to bring about a level of transparency and also self-sufficiency for our organization. Transparency in the way of I want everybody in student government to know what I'm doing and what I am planning on implementing to better aid them and assist them in what they want to achieve. I also think that transparency should go past our organization, and it's a two-way relationship. I think that you all should know everything that we have going on. I think that you guys should be comfortable attending our public meetings that we have and seeing the conversations that we occupy and we fill this space to represent you all, and I think that you all should be empowered to hold us accountable in that way. And I also think that you guys should be comfortable telling us what you want to see more, and what changes you want to see, and how we're representing you. And with self-sufficiency, I think it ties back into what we've been saying this whole time, just really streamlining what positions and expectations we have for our group. And as vice president and supporting my senators, I would really want to see a continuation of the pace that we've had this semester with how much we've gotten done, but also I would want to be able to exceed that. I think we've had some really creative and exceptional events this year. I know Elsa invited a guest speaker to speak about segregation in Lexington, which is something that I think many students probably wouldn't even consider even if they're local from here. I know Janaya just a few weeks ago, last week, had a educational event, but it was based on Family Feud, and there are really innovative ways to bring about the changes and education that we want to see for our campus. And I've really found my passion and strength in administering those goals and desires within the senators, and I think being vice president, I'll be able to continue on that path.
Thank you.
Advocacy, accessibility, accountability. Those are the same things that I already mentioned. I'm not going to go through the whole speech again. You don't have to worry about that. But the idea of a second term means an opportunity to fix my mistakes. You trust me to keep my momentum. Most importantly, you trust me to keep my passion. The first year when I ran for president, I was terrified. In fact, there wasn't a debate, not because the Rambler wasn't able to do it, but because both me and the other candidate said no. We were a little too scared to actually speak on our platforms. This year, I am more than ready. In fact, I am thrilled to have an opportunity again to actually do this. The administration won't know what hit them. They're not used to having the same face bug them for 2 years in a row, and I can't wait to also organize whoever's on my team next year, whoever you choose, to make sure we're the most effective we've ever been, ever.
Okay. That concludes the Rambler SGA debate.
Thank you, Rambler.
Thank you.
Everybody vote
April 1st.
Can I just X out?
April 1st.
So?